If you're wanting to live more naturally, Mountain Rose Herbs makes it simple. They've been offering high-quality teas, herbs, and oils for decades, all sustainably grown straight from the earth. Real wellness doesn't come from a lab, it comes from creation itself. Shop through my link at mountainrose.jackieespada.com and bring a little bit of nature back into your daily routine. Again, that's mountainrose.jackieespada.com. Good afternoon or morning, wherever it is where you are. I hope you guys are having a great Sunday so far. We are going to have another Bible study session today with you guys, and I'm super excited. I hope that you are excited as well. I enjoyed this Thursday's episode as well. If you guys missed it, it was a really good one, and we got into Genesis chapters 11 through 25. And it was a really great conversation. So if you missed it, please go back and watch that. Of course, you never have to. You really don't have to do. This is a, excuse me, a minimal Bible study. Like, you don't have to do a whole lot of work for it. We're trying to do all of the work here together, so that you get all of the pressure taken off you, and we're chugging right along. And I hope that you guys are enjoying it so far. You guys don't mind, if you guys are here watching live, hit that thumbs up and also share this out with a friend. We are also live on YouTube. So YouTube, hello to you if you are watching over on YouTube. I'm going to drop the YouTube link in, excuse me, the chat of this post, but also the comments of the Rumble. So if you guys are watching this on Rumble and want to go and support YouTube, greatly appreciate that as well. So here's that. I threw it in the chat, threw it in the comments for our non-live viewers. But yeah, we're going to have a good time today. We're going to get into the word here in just a second. I did want to thank our first sponsor of the day, which was Mountain Rose Herbs. Great products, great things that they have there. So definitely feel free to use my link, mountainrose.jackieespada.com, and you will be able to shop all of the good things that they have there. Excuse me. Next up, I have another ad that I'm going to read, and this one's actually a read that I'm going to have to do myself. So give me a quick second as I pull this. Here it is. Okay, so if your lotion isn't doing anything except making your hands slippery for 12 minutes, we need to talk. Soft Disclosure is my go-to when my skin is dry, cranky, or just straight up over being disrespected by fake fragrance and mystery ingredients. Their lotion actually absorbs, and their tallow bars are elite. Their deodorant works without you playing, is this me or is this the room? And everything is made with clean, simple ingredients that don't require a chemistry degree to understand. It's giving your skin, but calmer. No weird smells, no greasy film, no crunchy guilt trip energy. If you want skincare that works and doesn't make non-toxic living feel like a full-time job, this is the move. Go to softdisclosure.com and use my code Jackie for 10% off, because being ashy in 2026 is a choice, and we are doing better. Excuse me. Thank you, Soft Disclosure, for that. And we'll get into our last sponsor later in the show. But why not get into the word? Last week, on Thursday, we left off on Esau selling his birthright. And that was, that's a huge deal, especially in that time period. Your birthright is basically your everything. And if you don't have that, then, you're not going to get blessed, essentially. All right. But today we're going to start with chapter 26 of Genesis, and this and this. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm crossing off my to-do list, because I noticed that when I don't have a to-do list as far as like sponsors go and announcements I need to make and all of that, then I tend to forget, and we don't want to forget. And I need to update this here. So shop my faves. Yes. Oh, yes. Rocky Top. Yes. Turn and greet your neighbor. Everybody say hello to your neighbor. Look to your left. and say hello to them and welcome and hope that they have a great day. All right, now turn to your right and greet your neighbor on your right. Tell them they look beautiful. Their smile's lovely. You're so glad to see them. All right. Now that we've got our introductions out of the way, we will uh we will get into today's word. Today's word is going to be Genesis 26 and we're going to go up to 36. But of course, we're going to, you know, we're going to be talking and stopping and pausing and seeing where God is in these verses. So whenever you have anything that you want to say or add or just have a question or something, make sure you drop it in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on it so that you guys, I'm able to interact with you guys. Kind of if this is your first time here, what we do is every chapter we will start and read it. I'll read it through and sometimes I'll make, I'll stop and make little notes here and there. But it really is just a free form, and we'll see what God brings us, and it's always a fun time. So there was something that I was going to do. I was going to update this, so update this real quick. I should have done this before the show, but it's fine. So soft disclosure and use. Oh, that's unfortunate. 10%. Like I said, I should have done this before. All right, we just leave it like that for now. Okay, let's get into the word. Like I said, Genesis 26. And we're talking about Jacob and Esau. Isaac is obviously their father, and we're going to see that relationship now between Jacob and Esau. And here we go. The promise reaffirmed to Isaac. Before we start, I almost forgot. I'm reading from the She Reads Truth Bible. This is Christian Standard Bible translation. If you want to follow along, feel free to do so. There's free Bible apps that you can absolutely do that. But I wanted to let you know what translation I was reading so that you can also follow along if you want to. All right, now let's get into it. There was another famine in the land in addition to the one that had occurred in Abraham's time. And Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, at Gerar. The Lord appeared to him and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land that I tell you about. Stay in this land as an alien, and I will be with you and bless you. For I will give you all these lands to you and your offspring, and I will confirm the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. I will make your offspring as numerous as the stars of the sky. I will give your offspring all these lands, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by your offspring, because Abraham listened to me and kept my mandate, my commandments, my statutes, and my instructions." So Isaac settled in Gerar. And if you've been here since the beginning, then you know that this is the same God, the same promises, just a new generation. He gave this same promise to Abraham, saying that he would bless them and make their offerings or make their offsprings fruitful and multiply. And he's reaffirming that same promise with Isaac's generation, which is awesome to think about. All right, now we're on verse 7, Isaac's deception. When the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, "She is my sister." Again? Guys, didn't we learn the last time? Abraham did the same thing with Sarah. When the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, "She is my sister," for he was afraid to say "my wife," thinking the men of this place will kill me on account of Rebekah, for she is a beautiful woman. When Isaac had been there for some time, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked down from the window and was surprised to see Isaac caressing his wife Rebekah. Abimelech sent for Isaac and said, "So, she is really your wife. How could you say she is my sister?" Isaac answered him, "Because I thought I might die on account of her." Then Abimelech said, "What have you done to us? One of the people could easily have slept with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us." So Abimelech warned all the people. Whoever harms this man or his wife will certainly be put to death. So here we go. Um, yes, Rocky Top said, "All right, here's where you get to the state of Israel conversation. Where's Ghost?" I know it was interesting to kind of get into it last week too because um, we saw the branching off of the 12 tribes of Israel. So yeah, but obviously conflict continues, and of course it literally says as the next chapter title or the next verse title is verse 12, and it says conflicts over wells. Isaac sowed seed in that land, and in that year he reaped 100 times what was sown. The Lord blessed him, and the man became rich and kept getting richer until he was very wealthy. He had flocks of sheep, herds of cattle, and many slaves, and the Philistines were envious of him. Philistines stopped up all the wells that his father's servants had dug in the days of his father Abraham, filling them with dirt. And Abimelech said to Isaac, "Leave us, for you are much too powerful for us." So Isaac left there, camped in the Gerar Valley, and lived there. Isaac reopened the wells that had been dug in the days of his father Abraham and that the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham died. He gave them the same names his father had given them. Then Isaac's servants dug in the valley and found a well of spring water there. But the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdmen and said, "The water is ours." So he named the well Esek. And Esek means argument, because they argued with him. When they dug another well and quarreled over that one also, so he named it Sitnah, and Sitnah means hostility. He moved from there and dug another, and they did not quarrel over it. He named it Rehoboth, which means open spaces, and said, "For now the Lord has made spare or space for us, and he will be fruitful, or we will be fruitful in that land." So his persistence ended up bringing peace in the long run. So, he was blessed, and of course, blessed with blessing comes opposition every single time to test us. And yes, Artsy, this is still Genesis. We are in chapter 26. Now we're going to be on verse 23. So yes, we are still in Genesis. We are almost done with Genesis if we're being honest, because Genesis has 50 chapters, so we're about halfway through Genesis already. Kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, this is pre Joseph. Yeah, Genesis chapter 26. So this is Isaac's story. So now we're on, like I said, chapter 26, verse 23, and this is the Lord appears to Isaac. It says, "From there he went up to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared to him that night and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bless you and multiply your offspring because of my servant Abraham." So again, that right there is that same promise that he continued to give to everybody. So he built an altar there, called on the name of the Lord, and pitched up his tent there. Isaac's servants also dug a well there. So the altar symbolizes worship, obviously. And the well symbolizes provision in this context. So yes. So Amber in the chat said covenant is a very serious thing in the Middle East. A good study in understanding God covenant with us. Absolutely. Totally agree with that. All right, verse 26, covenant with Abimelech. Now Abimelech came to him from Gerar, from Ahuzeth, his advisor, and Phicol, the commander of his army. Isaac said to them, "Why have you come to me? You hated me and sent me away from you." They replied, "We have clearly seen how the Lord has been with you. We think there should be an oath between two parties, between us and you. Let us make a covenant with you. You will not harm us, just as we have not harmed you, but have done only what was good to you, sending you away in peace. You are now blessed by the Lord." So he prepared a banquet for them, and they ate and drank. They got up early in the morning and swore an oath to each other. Isaac sent them on their way, and they left him in peace. On that same day, Isaac's servants came to him about the well that they dug, saying to him, "We have found water." He called it Sheba, which means Sheba. Therefore, the name of the city is called Beersheba today. So, yes, well of the oath. is what Beersheba means, well of the oath. And that makes sense because Sheba is the oath. Yeah, so the Bible says he appeared, but he didn't say how or what he looked like. Yeah. It doesn't you're correct. It does not say to him what he looks like or anything like that. That's the other thing. Um, we ever since the old the well, since the Garden of Eden, we're not allowed to really see his face because of the covenant and being broken. So, I don't know. That's interesting. I would wonder. And could you even imagine having the Lord come to you and, what that would even look like? I mean, obviously we have, hundreds and if even thousands of accounts of people who have claimed to see Jesus, and they all say that he takes, they all look different to each other. No two accounts are the same because of course we're all different people and we all see things differently. So, it's interesting for sure. All right. Esau's wives. When Esau was 40 years old, he took as his wives Judith, daughter of Beri the Hethite, and Basemath, daughter of Elon the Hethite. They made life bitter for Isaac and Rebekah. So, yeah, that's what happened after that. All right. So Rocky Top just said in the chat, notice how they saw that the Lord was has been with him. Some lost, yet searching people can sense it like a dog. Yeah. I think that's a really good point. I think a lot of us even get that in our day-to-day lives where, you know, we would just be it happens to Cam. It happens to Cam a lot, to be honest, where he'll just be walking down the street. And I remember one time when we were in Nashville last year, where he was just walking down the street, and we went to into an ice cream shop, and he wasn't getting any ice cream, but he was just waiting by the door, and this homeless person just comes up to him. They look broken and were crying and upset, and they just came up to Cam and they were like, I don't have a reason to keep living. And it's just so funny that Cam would be the one that was attracted to them. And so he, and Cam always is going to have the right words to say to these people and encourage them and uplift them and and even try to pray with them or talk about Jesus to them. And it's interesting that it always happens that those hurt and searching people are always the ones that come and find him. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, it happens with I'm sure a lot of you guys in the chat have had moments like that too, where you just where you're just you feel that spirit of God and Christianity is just beaming off of you, and people just are naturally attracted to that. Or they're attracted to it for other reasons and want to just, I guess, dog you and just be mean to you. Could be that too. But yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna check the chat one more time. Ain't interesting. Artsy Jones said I read that angels appear especially to children in an image that would be pleasing, not scary. Yeah, that's definitely interesting for sure. Because I have seen, I've heard that like people who are about to cross over, meaning that they're about to die, and then people who like children see angels and see people who have crossed over and all of that into heaven. It's really interesting for sure that, those are the people who are the ones that kind of get the visits the most. So, yeah. It could be the childlike sense of wonder. Who knows? Who knows why God makes is that those are the people that get to see the angels and stuff like that. So, who knows? But anyways, let's continue on. We're going on to chapter 27 now. And this is the stolen blessing, the stolen blessing. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could not see, he called his older son Esau and said to him, "My son." And he answered, "Here I am." He said, "Look, I am old and do not know the day of my death. So now take your hunting gear, your quiver and bow, and go out in the field to hunt some game for me. Then make me a delicious meal that I love and bring it to me to eat so that I can bless you before I die." So now Rebekah was listening to what Isaac said to his son Esau. So while Esau went to the field to hunt some game to bring in, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Listen, I heard your father talking to your brother Esau. He said, 'Bring me game and make a delicious meal for me to eat so that I can bless you in the Lord's presence before I die.' Now, my son, listen to me and do what I tell you. Go to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, and I will make them into a delicious meal for your father, the kind he loves. Then take it to your father to eat so that he may bless you before he dies." Jacob answered Rebekah his mother, "Look, my brother Esau is a hairy man, but I am a man with smooth skin. Suppose my father touches me. Then I will be revealed to him as a deceiver and bring a curse rather than a blessing to me." His mother said to him, "Your curse be on me, my son. Just obey me and go get them for me." So he went and got the goats and brought them to his mother, and his mother made the delicious food his father loved. Then Rebekah took the best clothes of her older son Esau, which were in the house, and had her younger son Jacob wear them. She put the skins of the young goats on his hands and the smooth part on his neck. Then she handed the delicious food and the bread she had made to her son Jacob. When he came to his father, he said, "My father." And he replied, "Here I am." "Who are you, my son?" Jacob replied to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Please set up and eat some of my game so that you may bless me." But Isaac said to his son, "How did you ever find it so quickly, my son?" He replied, "Because the Lord your God made it happen for me." Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come closer so that I can touch you, my son. Are you really my son Esau or not?" So Jacob came closer to his father Isaac. When he touched him, he said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." He did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau. So he blessed him. Again he asked, "Are you really my son Esau?" And he replied, "I am." Then he said, "Bring it closer to me and let me eat some of my son's game so that I can bless you." Jacob brought it closer to him and he ate. He brought him wine and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Please come closer and kiss me, my son." So he came closer and kissed him. When Isaac smelled his clothes, he blessed him and said, "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give it to you from the dew of the sky and from the richness of the land, an abundance of grain and new wine. May peoples serve you and nations bow and worship to you. Be master over your relatives. May your mother's sons bow and worship to you. Those who curse you will be cursed, and those who bless you will be blessed." As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had left the presence of his father Isaac, his brother Esau arrived from his hunting. He had also made some delicious food and brought it to his father. He said to his father, let my father get up and eat some of his son's game so that you may bless me." But his father Isaac said to him, "Who are you?" He answered, "I am Esau, your firstborn son." Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably. "Who was it then?" he said. "Who hunted game and brought it to me? I ate it all before you came in, and I blessed him. Indeed, he will be blessed." When Esau heard his father's words, he cried out with a loud and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me too, my father." But he replied, "Your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing." So he said, so he said, "Isn't he rightly named Jacob? For he has cheated me twice now. He took my birthright, and look, now he has taken my blessing." Then he asked, "Haven't you saved a blessing for me?" But Isaac answered Esau, "Look, I have made him a master over you, have given him all of his relatives as his servants, and have sustained him with grain and new wine. What then can I do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "Do you have only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father." And Esau wept loudly. His father Isaac answered him, "Look, your dwelling place will be away from the richness of the land, away from the dew of the sky above. You will live by your sword and you will serve your brother. But when you rebel, you will break his yoke from your neck." That's that's I mean, that's crazy. That whole situation was that whole situation would be able to happen. All right, let's look at the chat. I'm not done yet with chapter 27 because there's Esau gets angry, and we'll get there in a second. But I know that you guys were in the chat sounding off. So Rocky Top said Jacob means chiseler. I've heard. That's interesting. So Jacob, let's see. Jacob, I actually saw in here. Where is it? It there's a translation for it in my Bible. Now I gotta find the B. Where is A? Oh, yeah. Jacob literally means he grasps the heel. So that's what Jacob means in, let me see what it Bible. So in the Bible, Jacob means heel catcher or supplanter or one who follows on the heels of, obviously stemming from his birth when he grasped his twin brother's heel. And that also, I think, stems from also the the idiom of pulling your leg. There's a potential that this is where that came from as well. Jacob the Democrat, Artsy said. Rocky Top says, then later in Genesis, Jacob will live the youngest child more, or love the youngest child more, except for Benjamin, one of those accidental late babies. Yeah. God describing what the serpent would do. Yeah. Isn't that kind of crazy? So, I mean, between the mom and the brother, just co-conspiring to steal the blessing. I That doesn't sit right with me, for sure. Pen W said, "Yeah, I never understood how that happened. Was it God's will? But that don't seem right. That's deceitful what Jacob did." Right. I mean, obviously God has a plan for everything and he knew that this was going to happen. Like when he formed and created Jacob and Esau, like their names say it themselves. So Jacob is obviously the heel catcher, and let's see what does Esau mean? Esau means hairy or rough. He was the elder of the two sons. So, he kind of got the short end of the stick. And my guess is that he absolutely intended for this to happen. So, I don't see why not, but I mean it's very confusing. So let's see. Let's ask the internet. Let's see what wow. The internet straight up said. So I asked the question, did God hate Esau? Um It said, no, God did not hate Esau as a person in the human emotional sense. Rather, the physical phrase, God, Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated, which is Romans 9:13, quoting Malachi 1, 2, and 3, signifies God's sovereign choice to favor Jacob's lineage for his covenant promises, rejecting Esau's line, the Edomites, from being the primary vehicle of his redemptive plan though Esau and his descendants received blessings and were not damned. This hate in Hebrew context often means loved less or rejected for a specific purpose, not utter detestation, and highlights God's choice of national or nation lineage over individual preference or action before birth. So in this sense, it's not that God hates Esau, because it does say that. And actually, let me pull up in the Bible where it says that. Let's go to, and I'll pull it up on the screen so that you guys can see. So it says Romans 9:13. So Romans 9:13. And so this 9:13. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is the first reference to it. But this is quoting Malachi. So let me get Malachi as well on here. So Malachi, and this is Malachi what again? 1, 2, and 3. Oh, the cat's here. I heard her. All right. So I'll pull this up in just a second. All right. So Malachi, first one we have is Romans. This is Romans 9:13, and it says, as it is written, I have loved Jacob, but I have hated Esau. Again, that does not mean this is Malachi 1, 2, and 3. Like I said, it references that. So let's go over to Malachi 1 or 2 and 3. So the word of the Lord to Israel through Malachi says, I have loved you, says the Lord. Yet you asked, how have you loved us? Wasn't Esau Jacob's brother? This is the Lord's declaration. Even so, I loved Jacob, but I hated Esau. I turned his mountains into a wasteland and gave his inheritance to the desert jackals. So, though Edom says we have been devastated, but we will rebuild the ruins. The Lord of armies says they may rebuild, but I will demolish. They will be called a wicked country, and the people the Lord has cursed forever. Your own eyes will see this, and you yourselves will say the Lord is great even beyond the borders of Israel. So, yes, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. I'm trying to make sense of it because Jacob and his mother were deceitful, yes. However, it also mentions in the end of it, and I believe it also says this as we continue forward. It keeps making mention of Esau's wives, and that may be why God is not very happy with Esau. Like it said that Esau's wives made life bitter for Isaac and Rebekah, and I want to say that later on they even talk about Isaac's wives again or Esau's wives again. Um, so yeah, but they also talk about well, as we continue, we'll see that Esau does come back in to the question. He they talk about it, and Jacob does all the things. So yeah, I don't necessarily know the reason why he says he hated him, but it's in the Hebrew context. It obviously, I guess it's not supposed to be as harsh a word. It's just supposed to mean that they're loved less or to prefer. Um, so it's oh, so it's a relative comparison than absolute hatred, similar to how God hated Leah in Genesis, but still opened her womb. So yeah, he made a deal with Abram to bless his line, and bless his line he did through Jacob, which is Israel ultimately. So yeah, I'm sorry if I made it more confusing. I'll try to get some more answers for you because it is kind of confusing. Um, but I'm sure he will give us clarity on this. I'm hoping for it at least. So yeah. All right, let's finish up chapter 27 because we still got a few more chapters to get to. So chapter 27, this is verse 41, and this is Esau's anger. Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him. And Esau determined in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are approaching. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. When the words of her older son Esau were reported to Rebekah, she summoned her younger son Jacob and said to him, listen, your brother Esau is consoling himself by planning to kill you. So now, my son, listen to me. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran. Is it Haran or Haran? I don't know. And stay with him for a few days until your brother's anger subsides, until your brother's rage turns away from you and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will send for you and bring you back from there. Why should I lose you both in one day? So Rebekah said to Isaac, I'm sick of my life because of these Hethite women or girls. If Jacob marries someone from around here, like these Hethite girls, what good is my life? So, yeah, Jacob gains a blessing, but loses a home, his peace, and trust. So, was it really worth it? Was it a fair trade-off? He gained the blessing, but he loses all these other things. So, yeah. Okay, so Eleanor said, sorry to add more. Don't be sorry. But Chad Bird, or by Chad Bird, but he has an excellent explanation. God's choice of Jacob over Esau was not based on moral, intellectual, or spiritual credentials. He didn't wait for the two brothers to grow up so he could assess their virtues, then choose. Jacob's flaws became evident as he grew up. He was egotistical, conniving, and deceitful. In contrast, Esau often appears the better man. Yet God chose Jacob, a man of questionable character. Why? Because God's calling is rooted in his mercy, not human merit. As Jesus said, you do not choose me, but I choose you. That gives us the most complete answer, and I can appreciate that. So thank you, Eleanor, and don't be sorry for adding that in because I feel like that gives us a complete answer to what we're trying to figure out. And I can kind of get behind that as well. So I can pull this up. Um We can read through the whole thing. It's definitely beautiful. So let's read through this whole thing together because I do appreciate that. So God's choice of Jacob over Esau was not based on moral, intellectual, or spiritual credentials. He didn't wait for the two brothers to grow up so he could assess his assess their virtues, then choose the superior son. God made his decision, though the twins were not yet born and had done nothing yet good or bad. Jacob's flaws became evident as he grew up. He was egotistical, conniving, and deceitful. In contrast, Esau often appears the better man. Yet God chose Jacob, a man of questionable character and the father of a deeply flawed family. Why? Because God's calling is rooted in his mercy, not human merit, as Jesus said. You did not choose me, but I chose you. You may think, but I've messed up too much, ruined relationships, betrayed trust, or carry shame. God wouldn't want me. To all of this, our father responds, what are you talking about, my child? This has nothing to do with how good or bad you are. I forgive you. I love you. I call and choose you in my son. There is no condemnation for those in Christ Jesus, only peace, love, and hope. God was fully aware of Jacob's flaws, yet he chose him anyway. His plans don't rely on perfect people because after all, he only has imperfect sinners to work with. So if you're a sinner, welcome to humanity and welcome to the forgiven family of God in Christ Jesus. So yeah, so he didn't choose the deceitful because he, wanted to choose this deceitful. Um but yeah, so this he says that this isn't adapted from his book Limping with God, Jacob in the Old Testament Guide to Messy Discipleship. So that's his take on it, and I can appreciate it. I don't necessarily know if I agree with it 100%, but it's a good take for sure and kind of gives a little bit of an answer to what we were trying to figure out. So, yeah. I guess it's just one of the questions we're going to have to ask God when we get there. Get to heaven, you know? So, let's continue on. We're going to go into chapter 28 now. Chapter 28 is Jacob's departure. Obviously, his mom just told him, Jacob, you got to leave. Your brother does not like you, doesn't want you around here. He wants you dead because you stole what was his. So you got to keep going. So yeah, he's definitely worth a follow. All right, so chapter 28. So Isaac summoned Jacob, blessed him, and commanded him, do not marry a Canaanite girl. Go at once to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father. Marry one of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you so that you become an assembly of peoples. May God give you and your offspring the blessing of Abraham so that you may possess the land where you live as a foreigner. The land God gave to Abraham. So Isaac sent Jacob to Padan Aram, to Laban, son of Bethuel, the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. Esau noticed that Isaac blessed Jacob and sent him to Padan Aram, or Padan Aram. I don't know what it is. Maybe I should. We're gonna ask for an assist. We're gonna look up the what that word is. So this is Genesis 28 and
chapter 28. Isaac summoned Jacob, blessed him, and commanded him, do not marry a Canaanite girl. Go at once to Padan Aram, to the
Padan Aram is what the translation that's yeah, okay. So Padan Aram. So Laban's son of okay. Esau noticed that Isaac blessed Jacob and sent him to Padan Aram to get a wife there. When he blessed him, Isaac commanded Jacob, do not marry a Canaanite girl. And Jacob listened to his father and mother and went to Padan Aram. Esau realized that his father Isaac disapproved of the Canaanite women. So Esau went to Ishmael and married. In addition to his other wives, Mahalath, daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son. She was the sister of Nebaioth. So, yeah. So here we go with verse 10. So Jacob at Bethel. Jacob left Beersheba and went toward Haran. He reached a certain place and spent the night there because the sun had set. He took one of the stones from the place, put it there on at his head, and lay down in that place. And he dreamed. This is the cool dream. A stairwell was set on the ground with its top reaching the sky, and God's angels were going up and down on it. The Lord was standing there beside him, saying, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your offspring the land on which you are lying. Your offspring will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out toward the west, the east, the north, and the south. All the peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. Look, I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. So that's an interesting visual for sure. When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. He was afraid and said, What an awesome place this is! This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. Early in the morning, Jacob took the stone that was near his head and set it up as a marker. He poured oil on top of it and named the place Bethuel or Bethel, though previously the city was named Luz. Then Jacob made a vow. If God will be with me and watch over me during this journey I'm making, if he provides me with food to eat and clothing to wear, and if I return safely to my father's family, then the Lord will be my God. This stone that I have set up as a marker will be God's house, and I will give to you a tenth of all you have given me. So the encounter birthed a commitment. And sometimes, it's interesting for sure that sometimes we just need a small encounter, which is God showing up one time for us to be fully committed and fully on board for what his plan is for us. So I'm super excited, and I look forward to continuing on my path. All right. Chapter 29. Chapter 29, this is where Jacob finds his wifey. So Jacob meets Rachel. Jacob resumed his journey and went to the eastern country. He looked and saw a well in a field. 3 flocks of sheep were lying there beside it because the sheep were watered from this well, but a large stone covered the opening of the well. The shepherds would roll the stone from the opening of the well and water the sheep when all the flocks were gathered there. Then they would return the stone to its place over the well's opening. Jacob asked the men at the well, My brothers, where are you from? We're from Haran. I don't know. That's another one. I'm just gonna look it up. Let's look. We're gonna go to 29. Nope. 29. And we're gonna look up. Mhm.
He looked and saw a well. The sheep were lying there beside it, because the sheep were watered from this well. But a large stone covered the opening of the well. The shepherds would roll the stone from the opening of the well and water the sheep when all the flocks were gathered there. Then they would return the stone to its place over the well's opening. Jacob
I
asked
read
the man at
this
the
all the
well,
way, by the
My
way.
brothers, where are you from? We're from Haran, they answered.
Haran. Okay, so I was right. So Haran. Okay. So Haran. We're from Haran, they answered. Do you know Laban, Nahor's grandson? Jacob asked them. They answered, We know him. Is he well? Jacob asked. Yes, they said, and here is his daughter Rachel, coming with his sheep. Then Jacob said, Look, it is still broad daylight. It's not time for the animals to be gathered. Water the flock, then go out and let them graze. But they replied, We can't until all the flocks have been gathered and the stone is rolled from the well's opening. Then we will water the sheep. While he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with his father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. As soon as Jacob saw his uncle Laban's daughter, Rachel, with his sheep, he went up and rolled the stone from the opening and watered his uncle Laban's sheep. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and wept loudly. He told Rachel that he was her father's relative, Rebekah's son. She ran and told her father. So that's interesting that Rachel was a shepherdess. I wonder, does anybody know um how many like women shepherds were there back in that day? So how many women shepherds or shepherdesses? How many so wow, I didn't know that. So Rachel is the only named woman explicitly called a shepherdess. The Bible describes Jethro's 7 daughters, which we'll see in the next book in Exodus, including Zipporah, also as tending their father's flocks. So they may not have been named specifically as a shepherdess, but they were in fact shepherdesses. So that's cool. So it's a common practice, often cared for their family flocks, a role that was not considered unusual in ancient Near Eastern culture. So yeah, that's interesting. All right, let's continue. Jacob deceived. This is verse 13 of chapter 29. When Laban heard the news about his sister's son Jacob, he ran to meet him, hugged him, and kissed him. Then he took him to his house, and Jacob told him all that had happened. Laban said to him, "Yes, you are my own flesh and blood." After Jacob had stayed with him a month, Laban said to him, "Just because you're my relative, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be." Now Laban had 2 daughters. The older was named Leah, and the youngest was named Rachel. Leah had tender eyes, but Rachel was shapely and beautiful. Jacob loved Rachel, so he answered Laban, "I'll work for you for 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel." Laban replied, "Better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay with me." Jacob worked 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Since my time is complete, give me my wife so that I can sleep with her." So Laban invited all the men of the place and sponsored a feast. That evening, Laban took his daughter Leah and gave her to Jacob, and he slept with her. And Laban gave his slave Zilpah to his daughter Leah as her slave. When morning came, there was Leah. So he said to Laban, "What have you done to me? Wasn't it for Rachel that I worked for? Why why have you deceived me?" Laban answered, "Is it not the custom in our country to give the younger daughter in marriage before the firstborn? Complete this week of wedding celebration, and we will also give you this younger one in return for working yet another 7 years for me." And Jacob did just that. He finished the week of celebration, and Laban gave him his daughter Rachel as his wife. And Laban gave his slave Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her slave. Jacob slept with Rachel also, and indeed, he loved Rachel more than Leah. And he worked for Laban another 7 years. Jacob's sons. When the Lord saw that Leah was neglected, he opened her womb, but Rachel was unable to conceive. Leah conceived, gave birth to a son, and named him Reuben, which means see, a son. For he said, "The Lord has done or seen my affliction. Surely my husband will love me now." She conceived again, gave birth to a son, and said, "The Lord heard that I am neglected and has given me this son also." So she named him Simeon, which means heard. She conceived again, gave birth to a son, and said, "At last my husband will come back, attached to me, because I have borne 3 sons for him." Therefore he was named Levi, and Levi means attached. And she conceived again, gave birth to a son, and said, "This time I will praise the Lord." Therefore she named him Judah. Then Leah stopped having children. So that that's 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 what happened to Jacob. He he's getting blessed for sure. He's getting blessed. He has all the wives, and we slowly start to see the tribes of Judah, or not Judah, tribes of Israel start to form. There's going to be 12 tribes, and we're starting to see the sons starting to be laid out. So we have Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. So we're forming out the basketball teams. Um yeah. So I'm reading what is in the chat, and she must have been something. Yeah, for 7 years. But not only 7 years, but it was 14 years, wasn't it? Because he had to work 7 and then he has to work another 7 for Rachel. That was it really that worth it? So who knows? Who knows? Um It is a very real thing. Rocky Top said the Bible is real, y'all. It is. It is definitely that. All right, let's continue this story because we're not done. We're not done with Rachel. We're not done with Leah. Now we're on chapter 30. Chapter 30. So when Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she envied her sister. Give me sons or I will die, she said to Jacob. Jacob became angry with Rachel and said, Am I in the place of God? He has withheld offspring from you. Then she said, Here is my maid Bilhah. Go sleep with her, and she'll bear children for me, so that through her I can too build a family. So Rachel gave her son Bilhah to Jacob as a wife, and he slept with her. Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. Rachel said, God has vindicated me. Yes, he has heard me and given me a son. So she named him Dan. Dan means justice. Rachel's slave Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Rachel said, In my wrestlings with God, I have wrestled with my sister and won. And she named him Naphtali. Naphtali means wrestling. When Leah saw that she had stopped having children, she took her slave Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Leah's slave Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, What good fortune! And she named him Gad. Gad, of course, means good fortune. When Leah's slave Zilpah bore Jacob a second son, Leah said, I am happy that the women call me happy. So she named him Asher. Asher means happy. Reuben went out during the wheat harvest and found some mandrakes in the field. When he brought them to his mother, Leah, Rachel asked, Please give me some of your son's mandrakes. But Leah replied to her, Isn't it enough that you have taken my husband? Now you also want to take my son's mandrakes? Well then, Rachel said, he can sleep with me tonight in exchange with or he can sleep with you tonight in exchange for your son's mandrakes. When Jacob came in from the field that evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, You must come with me, for I have hired you with my son's mandrakes. So Jacob slept with her that night. God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. Leah said, God has rewarded me for giving my slave to my husband, and she named him Issachar. And Issachar means reward. Then Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. God has given me a good gift, Leah said. This time my husband will honor me because I have borne six sons for him. And she named him Zebulun. Later, Leah bore a daughter and named her Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel. Remember that word from the last time? Remembered? That means action's coming. He listened to her and opened her womb. She conceived and bore a son, and she said, God has taken away my disgrace. She named him Joseph. And Joseph means he adds, or may he add. And she said, May the Lord add another son to me. So there you go. Those are all of the sons so far. And before we continue, Rocky Top in the chat said, if I may, before you get to Jacob's sons, you need to assign everyone to watch Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat with Donny Osmond. You'll be glad you did. Do I need to, or should I just suggest it? I don't think I need to do anything. Being honest, I don't think I need to do anything. I will suggest it though. um. So yeah. So he was So this was the first surrogate, I think. So let's see. Um. Was the first sur. Okay, so the first surrogate actually was Hagar. Hagar was the first surrogate mother, and she was an Egyptian servant. We actually write about her on Thursday. Carried a child for Abraham, and then, um, yeah. So it is awesome. I'm not saying that it's not awesome. I'm just saying that I don't need to do anything. Yes, ought to. That's a better term. I can use that. That's what I'll do. So yes, this I think not Leah, but the slave. The first slave was Bilhah. I think she may have been the second or the third surrogate. But yes, I mean you're on the right track. There's definitely a few like this first book of the Bible is a lot of surrogates. So I can understand why you thought that. All right. We're actually making pretty good time today, to be honest. We're supposed to be going up to 36 today, and we're already on 31. Like, we're making really good time, I feel like. So, yeah, let's actually, but while we were paused here for a second, let me get into the last ad for today. So let me pull that in real quick. Um, where is it? Here it is. All right, so here's the ad. Doo, doo, doo. Okay, they can cancel your accounts, freeze your cards, decide what you're allowed to say, buy, or support. Big banks and financial institutions have total control and they use it. That's why financial independence matters more now than ever. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodian I can't talk right now. A non custodial wallet built for real freedom. With Wallet, you control your money, not a bank, not a government, not a big tech companies. Buy digital assets like Tether Gold, and Bitcoin in one place. No permission, no middlemen, no cancel button. And when you want to support the creators like me that you actually believe in, you can use the Rumble Wallet app to directly tip content creators fast and without interference. This isn't a credit line they can shut off. It's your wallet permanently. Yours to protect your family, yours to protect your future. When the system fails, when institutions turn on their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Rumble Wallet isn't about politics, it's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what's yours. So take control today, download Rumble Wallet now, and step away from the big banks for good. True ownership, true protection, true financial freedom. So thank you, Rumble Wallet, for sponsoring this episode. All right, let's get back into it. We're still on chapter 30. And now we're gonna see Jacob's flocks multiply. We see him, and this actually was super interesting. And I look forward to the day where I actually get to go out to Willowwind Farm and get to see this in action for myself, because it's hard for me to grasp around the concept of having the perfect sheep versus the spotted sheep. I think that whole concept is really cool. So I'm really looking forward to um that we can absolutely get into that and talk with that for with Annie. So Art Mama 82 says, if we have something to send you for strictly for Bible study, where can we send it? So you can either send it to me via email. My email is jackieespada@protonmail.com. So I'll put that in the chat. jackieespada@protonmail.com. Oop, it would help if I spelled it correctly. Or you can send it to me on Telegram. So there's protonmail.com, or you can send it to me on Telegram. And my Telegram, actually, let me see if I have a link for you that I could potentially give you. Or yeah, if you have Telegram, you can Telegram me, or you can send me an email. I check my emails frequently, so you can email me there. Or you can send me a DM on X if you're on X. So if either way works. I also have, for those that are not part of my Telegram chat as well, I have that as an option for people. Let me grab my Telegram chat link for people who want to chat with me there. Oh, right. Okay. So here's that. You can also, if you want to message me there, you can send me a message in the inner circle. Inner circle is one of my Telegram channels that is just exclusively like for us folks who are, you know, just hanging out. That, close that. All right. So let's get back into the flocks. This is verse 25 of chapter 30. So Jacob's flocks multiply. After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, send me on my way so that I can return to my homeland. Give me my wives and my children that I have worked for and let me go. You know how hard I have worked for you. But Laban said to him, "If I have found favor with you, stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you." Then Laban said, "Name your wages and I will pay them." So Jacob said to him, "You know how I have served you and your herds have fared with me? For you had very little time before, or you had very little before I came, but now your wealth has increased. The Lord has blessed you because of me. And now, when will I also do something for my own family?" Laban asked, "What should I give you?" And Laban said, "You don't need to give me anything. If you do this one thing for me, I will continue to shepherd and keep your flock. Let me go through all your sheep today and remove every sheep that is speckled or spotted, every dark colored sheep among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the female goats. Such will be my wages. In the future, when you come to check on on my wages, my honesty will testify for me. If I have any female goats that are not speckled or spotted, or any lambs that are not black, they will be considered stolen." "Good," said Laban. "Let it be as you have said." That day Laban removed the streaked and spotted male goats and all the speckled and spotted female goats, every one that had any white on it, and every dark colored one among the lambs, and he placed his sons in charge of them. He put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob. Jacob, meanwhile, was shepherding the rest of Laban's flock. Jacob then took branches of fresh poplar, almond, and plane wood, and peeled the bark, exposing white stripes on the branches. He set the peeled branches in the troughs in front of the sheep, in the water channels where the sheep came to drink. And the sheep bred when they came to drink. The flocks bred in front of the branches and bore streaked, speckled, and spotted young. Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face the streaked sheep and the completely dark sheep in Laban's flock. Then he set his own stock apart and didn't put them with Laban's sheep. Whenever the stronger of the flock were breeding, Jacob placed the branches in the troughs, in full view of the flocks, and they would breed in front of the branches. As for the weaklings of the flocks, he did not put out the branches. So it turned out the weak sheep belonged to Laban and the stronger ones to Jacob. And the man became very rich. He had many flocks, female and male slaves, and camels and donkeys. So there you go. So that is a very interesting. Jacob was something else. He always came out on top, it feels like. So, yeah, but I want some deeper explanation on that. So why? So so the odd breeding program, it seems weird. Why the bark? Why why all of that? It doesn't make any sense to me. I have a website that I'm trying to pull up, but it's taking forever to load. So hopefully it'll there it is. Okay. So chapters 30 to 31 of Genesis have come under attack. Yeah, okay. So Jacob's block. It's very weird. I'll get into this probably another time because I want to dig into it myself. But yeah, Jacob's definitely deceiving again. So the science behind the sticks. Okay, several sources claim the poplar and almond trees have medicinal properties for both human and livestock. There are several scientific journal papers that mention that the particular trees from which Jacob peeled sticks supposedly cure urogenital problems, reduce fevers, work as anti inflammatories, and aid in reducing reproductive disorders. All of these would make an animal healthier and more likely to produce healthy offspring. Several studies have been done on poplar and almond tree bark, leaves, nuts, and twigs. And they mentioned that sheep would eat these and that ewes especially benefited from them. Also, many of the chemical compounds would still be beneficial even by simply steeping in water. Some of the benefits are highlighted below. Okay, so poplar led to better reproductive rates. Interesting. So it has been proposed that willow and poplar trees provide forage for livestock for moderative nutrition or nutritive value. Feeding of willow leaves or trimmings to use during mating resulted in reduction of live weight loss and increased reproductive weights. That's interesting. So poplar not only led to better reproductive rates, an enhanced protein and carbohydrate diet, okay, which further enhanced the reproductive rates, better conception rates, optimal gestation, and increased multiple births. Protein, okay. So almond, that's interesting. So there's definitely a lot of health benefits um to these actual bark trees that they actually chose. So that's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Artsy, what I can do is I can that link that Rocky Top put in the chat, what I can do is I can send it to you via email. Not I don't think the sticks caused the spotted sheep. I don't think that's the case. I think what the sticks caused were just better mating for the actual ones that Jacob wanted. If that makes sense. So Jacob wanted for his flock to be stronger than Laban's flock. So anytime that they mated, he put those sticks in the water. And it's because his sheep were the stronger sheep. That's why he would do it. And they would obviously have the spots. So does that make sense? I hope it does. It's weird. It doesn't really make any sense to me, but we weren't there, so we don't really know. All right. Next up, next chapter is chapter 31, and this is Jacob separates from Laban. It says, now Jacob heard what Laban's sons were saying. Jacob has taken all that was our father's and has built this wealth from what belonged to our father. And Jacob saw from Laban's face that his attitude toward him was not the same as before. The Lord said to him, go back to the land of your ancestors and to your family, and I will be with you. So that right there, he initially called him. He's like, you need to go, and then you need to come back. Now he's calling him back, and God calls us back with promises as presents. So, it's a good thing that he's calling him back, and he could only come back if God was calling him back. So that's a big thing. Jacob had Rachel and Leah called to the field where his flocks were. He said to them, I can see from your father's face that his attitude toward me is not the same as before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that with all my strength I have served your father, and that he has cheated me and changed my wages 10 times. But God has not let him harm me. If he said, the spotted sheep will be your wages, then all the sheep were born spotted. If he said, the streaked sheep will be your wages, then all the sheep were born streaked. God has taken away your father's herds and given them to me. When the flocks were breeding, I saw in a dream that the streaked, spotted, and speckled males were mating with the females. In that dream, the angel of God said to me, Jacob, and I said, here I am. And he said, look up and see. All the males that are mating with the flocks are streaked, spotted, and speckled, for I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you poured oil on the stone marker and made a solemn vow to me. Get up, leave this land, and return to your native land. So that right there is God, they said he remembered Jacob finally. He remembered Leah, and he defends those who were mistreated. He's not going to let you continue to be mistreated and all of that. But he will make sure that he will bless you again. So this is him defending Jacob being mistreated. And of course, we weren't there. We weren't there during that time period, so we don't know exactly how Jacob was. So we don't necessarily know if he could have been this deceiver and fox-like person, but we don't know. Then Rachel and Leah answered him, do we have any portion or inheritance in our father's family? Are we not regarded by him as outsiders? For he has sold us and has certainly spent our purchase price. In fact, all the wealth that God has taken away from our fathers belongs to us and to our children. So do whatever God has said to you. So Jacob got up and put his children and his wives on the camels. He took all the livestock and possessions he had acquired in I forgot. Oh, I dropped something. Is it Padan Aram, and he drove his herds to go to the land of Canaan to his father Isaac. When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household idols, and Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean, not telling him that he was fleeing. He fled with all his possessions, crossed the Euphrates, and headed for the hill country of Gilead. So there he goes again. He's leaving deception behind, but not really, because not only did he flee on un unsavory term, not unsavory, but like he didn't in deceptive terms, but his wife, his love, Rachel, stole something from her dad and something of importance to him. So it's not really cool. All right. Now we're on verse 22 of chapter 31. So if you guys are just joining us, make sure to do that. Also, hit that thumbs up if you guys don't mind. Her father's idols. We'll see what that means in just a second, Rocky Top. All right. Laban overtakes Jacob. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. So he took his relatives with him, pursued Jacob for 7 days, and overtook him in the hill country of Gilead. But God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream at night. Watch yourself, God warned him. Don't say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. When Laban overtook Jacob, Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban and his relatives also pitched their tents in the hill country of Gilead. Or is it Gilead? Probably that. I don't know what it is. Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done? You have deceived me and taken my daughters away like prisoners of war. Why did you secretly flee from me, deceive me, and not tell me? I would have sent you away with joy and singing, with tambourines and lyres, and you didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters. You have acted foolishly. I could do no great harm, or I could do you great harm. But last night the God of your father said to me, 'Watch yourself. Don't say anything to Jacob, either good or bad.' Now you have gone off because you long for your father's family. But why have you stolen my gods?" Jacob answered, "I was afraid, for I thought you would take your daughters from me by force. If you find your gods with anyone here, he will not live. Before our relatives point out anything that is yours and take it." Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the idols. So Laban went into Jacob's tent, Leah's tent, and the tents of the 2 concubines, but he found nothing. When he left Leah's tent, he went into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken Laban's household idols, put them in the saddlebag of the camel, and sat on them. Laban searched the whole tent but found nothing. She said to her father, "Don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand up in your presence. I am having my period." So Laban searched but could not find the household idols. Why would she lie like that? Like, she clearly knew. She clearly knew that she was stealing. She wasn't doing the right thing. And yet she continued to just lie about it and double down and say, "You know what? No, I'm on my period. It's fine. I'm on my period. You can't make me move." What? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. All right, Jacob's covenant with Laban. This is verse 36. Then Jacob became incensed and brought charges against Laban. "What is my crime?" he said to Laban. "What is my sin, that you have pursued me? You searched all my possessions. Have you found anything of yours? Put it here before my relatives and yours, and let them decide between the 2 of us. I've been with you these 22 years. Your ewes and female goats have not miscarried, and I have not eaten the rams from your flock. I did not bring you any of the flock torn by wild beasts. I myself bore the loss. You demanded payment for me for what was stolen by day or by night. There I was. The heat consumed me by day and the frost by night, and sleep fled from my eyes. For 20 years in your household I served you, 14 years for your 2 daughters and 7 years for your flocks. And you have changed my wages 10 times. There's that number 10 again. We talked about this on Thursday. That number 10 keeps coming around. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, the fear of Isaac, had been with me, certainly now you would have sent me empty-handed. But God has seen my affliction and my hard work, and he issued his verdict last night." Then Laban answered Jacob, "The daughters are my daughters, the children my children, and the flocks my flocks. Everything you see is mine. But what can I do today for your daughters of mine, or for the children they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant, you and I. Let it be a witness between the 2 of us." So Jacob picked out a stone and set it as a marker. Then Jacob said to his relatives, "Gather stones." And they took stones and made a mound, then ate there by the mound. Laban named the mound. Oh, he named the mound Jagar Sahadutha, but Jacob named it Galeed. So that means is okay, so Jagar Sahadutha is Aramaic and Galeed is Hebrew. They both mean mound of witness. So, yeah. Okay, so then Laban said, "This mound is a witness between you and me today." Therefore, the place was called Galeed and also Mizpah. For he said, "May the Lord watch between you and me when we are out of each other's sight. If you mistreat my daughters or take other wives, though no one is with us, understand that God will be a witness between you and me." Laban also said to Jacob, "Look at this mound and the marker I have set up between you and me. This mound is a witness, and the marker is a witness that you will not pass beyond this mound to you, and you will not pass beyond this mound and this marker to do me harm. The God of Abraham and the gods of Nahor, the gods of their father, will judge between us." And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and invited his relatives to eat a meal. So they ate a meal and spent the night on the mountain. Laban got up early in the morning, kissed his granddaughter or grandchildren and daughters, and blessed them. Then Laban left to return home. So that's that whole story of Jacob and Laban and finding his wives and having his children and yeah, sounds like streets in Atlanta, two names or more. Yeah. Oh, sure does. But this is very interesting. So Mizpah means watchtower, by the way. But the boundaries finally bring peace. And I think that's the big thing is that yes, we sometimes need to create those healthy boundaries. Those are okay because that's going to, it shows people, okay, you cross this line and that means war, essentially. Placing those boundaries in our lives and just like a day-to-day practice, especially with family and friends, it's important because if we don't have those, then we're setting ourselves up for a world of hurt and for boundaries to eventually be crossed. So, yeah. RT Jones said, "How many commandments did she break?" Yeah, a lot, probably. So, how many commandments did Rachel break? Let's see. In the biblical narrative, Rachel committed at least two direct acts that correspond to commandments later given by God to the Israelites through the law, and was not given until after her death. So, 10 commandments weren't a thing just yet, but was they were given to Moses on Mount Sinai. So we'll see that I think in Exodus. But she said the two commandments that she would have broken were you shall not have other gods before me, you shall not make for yourself a graven image. So Rachel stole her father's idols, his household idols, while some Jewish traditions suggest that she did this to prevent her father from practicing idolatry. The action itself involved possession and potential reverence of idols. So a violation of the first and second commandments right there. And then she also said, you shall not steal. The act of taking, what is a teraphim? That's a word. So teraphim, what is that? Teraphim is the household gods or idols. So they're like the little figurines. That's a teraphim. So the teraphim, so you shall not steal, and of course she stole. So those are the commandments that Rachel broke. But again, the commandments were not given to them until Exodus, after they're like in the wilderness and they were given to Moses. So these are not rules just yet for her to follow. All right. So chapter 32. This is where Esau comes back into the picture. Esau comes back into the picture and we see what's been going on ever since Jacob has left. So Jacob went on his way and God's angels met him. When he saw them, Jacob said, "This is God's camp." So he called that place Mahanaim. Mahanaim. I got to look this up. So This is 32. So 32. And this is the first
Chapter
one.
32. Jacob went on his way, and God's angels met him. When he saw them, Jacob said, "This is God's camp." So he called that place Mahanaim.
Mahanaim. Mahanaim. Yeah, so the word idols is not in the King James Version in the book of Genesis. So this is the Christian Standard Bible. This is the version that I'm reading from, which is interesting. Let me look at my other Bible to see what it says in that one. So the other translation, I have a King James Version, but I also have an NLT, so the New Living Translation, and this is 31. So let's see what it says in this one as far as idols go. 31. Let's see. Fine. Laban pursues him. Okay, so in this version, it just says gods. It doesn't say idols. It just says gods, little g gods. So this is the one that we've been reading from, Covenant with Laban. So this is 30, like 35 is 36 is 35 is where I see it. So 31, 35. Yeah, so it does say idols in this one too. So it says, so Laban continued his search, but he could not find the household idols. Yeah, it says household idols in this one. So this one is, so it says it in verse 32, 33, 34. This is all chapter 31, verse 33, like 30 on is where it should say the idols versus little g gods. That's what is in the New Living Translation. But also in my Christian Standard Bible. So that's what we have there. I'll leave this there so I can reference it again. But does that make sense? Anyways. Okay. 32, chapter 32. Jacob went on his way, and God's angels met him. When he saw them, Jacob said, "This is God's camp." So he called this place Mahanaim, which it means two camps. Two camps, Mahanaim. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the territory of Edom. He commanded them, "You are to say to my lord Esau," which is very interesting that he says Lord. This is what your servant Jacob says. I have been staying with Laban and have been delayed until now. I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, and male and female slaves. I have sent this message to inform my lord, or in order to seek your favor. When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, "We went to your brother Esau. He is coming to meet you, and he has 400 men with him." Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. He divided the people with him into two camps, along with the flocks, herds, and camels. He thought, if Esau comes to one camp and attacks it, the remaining one can escape. So his fear divides faith, and faith unites. So that's a big thing right there. So then Jacob said, "God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, 'Go back to your land and to your family, and I will cause you to prosper.' I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown my servant. Indeed, I crossed over the Jordan with my staff, and now I have become two camps. Please rescue me from my brother Esau, for I am afraid of him. Otherwise, he may come and attack me, the mothers and their children. You have said, 'I will cause you to prosper, and I will make your offspring like the sand of the sea, too numerous to be counted.'" He spent the night there and took part of what he had brought with him as a gift for his brother Esau: 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 milk camels with their young, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, and 10 male donkeys. He entrusted them to his slaves as separate herds and said to them, "Go on ahead of me and leave some distance between the herds." And he told the first one, "When my brother Esau meets you and asks, 'Who do you belong to? Where are you going? And whose animals are these ahead of you?' Then tell him, they belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau. And look, he is behind us. He also told the second one, the third, and everyone who was walking behind the animals. Say the same thing to Esau when you find him. You are to say, look, your servant Jacob is right behind us. For he thought, I want to appease Esau with the gift that is going ahead of me. After that, I can face him and perhaps he will forgive me. So the gift was sent ahead of him while he remained in the camp that night. During the night, Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 slave women, and his 11 sons, crossed the ford of Jabbok. He took them and sent them across the stream along with all his possessions. So that's a lot. That's a lot. That is a lot of people, of animals, of things. And that's all a credit to Jacob being faithful to God. He came back and he blessed him. Before we get into this next part, because this next part's actually very interesting, the part where Jacob wrestles with God. This is I think a pivotal moment that changes things for Jacob. I saw in the chat D Dale was asking about the Telegram group. Is a pay for play or closed group like the private chat? It is. I don't know what group you're talking about. Rocky Top is that my inner circle group? I think that's what it is. D Dale, if that's the case, it is a free group. It is just like the chat of my group, of my like broadcast group. So here is the link for that if you would like to join it. It is free, like I said, to join. You don't need to have to pay anything to be part of the group. It is just the inner circle. That's just it. It's the place where you guys can chat to the things that I post on or in the group. How to keep you guys updated and stuff like that. So it's a free group, and I just posted the link in the chat. Rocky Top, it's okay. It really is okay. You can, and actually, I know that he talked about. Well, I'm curious. Are we gonna get to the coat of many colors today? I don't think we are. We're not. So Rocky Top, what I'll do is on Thursday, when we read through the story of Joseph and the coat, what I'll do is I will play that clip that you posted because I feel like it would be fitting to start off with that one. So yeah, we'll start off next Bible study because that's it makes more sense there. We haven't gotten to Joseph just yet. Joseph hasn't even been born. Oh wait, no. He did get born. So he's been born, but we haven't really met him yet. And we'll start off with that. Yeah, I understand you, Dale. There's a lot of paywalls out there. There's no paywalls here for that one. I try to keep as much as my content as free as possible. I will, however, in the next like few weeks have to start thinking of what to stream with my 5 hours of premium content. But a lot of you guys have Rumble Premium as it is. So if you guys have any ideas of what to do with those 5 hours, whether it be just us having like a chill hangout or doing something, I don't know what to do with those 5 hours. I'm almost at 15 hours for the month, which is awesome. I have to get 30 hours for the entire month. So yeah. Well, we will definitely do that and figure out what we're going to do with those 5 premium hours. Art Mama 82, she says missed half of this internet went out in cats fighting. Where are we? We are just about to start we are just about to start we're in chapter 32 verse 24. Jacob wrestles with God. That's where we are. That's where we will be as soon as we start reading again. So you haven't missed much. We're almost done, if we're being honest. We're going up to 36, so we're at 32. We got 30 minutes probably, and we'll be out of here. Try to keep these for under 2 hours as much as possible. I know Thursdays went over. We were 2.5 hours. But a good time was definitely had. Anyways, hit that thumbs up for me, just like Artsy Jones said in the chat. That is greatly appreciated. And let's get back into this next part where Jacob wrestles with God. So this is chapter 32, verse 30, or chapter 32, verse 24. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. Okay. When the man saw that he could not defeat him, he struck Jacob's hip socket as they wrestled and dislocated his hip. Then he said to Jacob, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." "What is your name?" the man asked. "Jacob," he replied. "Your name will no longer be Jacob," he said. "It will be Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed." Then Jacob asked him, "Please tell me your name." But he answered, "Why do you ask my name?" And he blessed him there. Jacob then named the place Peniel, or Peniel, "For I have seen God face to face," and he said, "Yet my life has been spared." The sun shone on him as he passed by Pen- Penuel, limping because of his hip. That is why, still today, the Israelites don't eat the thigh muscle that is at the hip socket, because he struck Jacob's hip socket at the thigh muscle. So, yeah, a blessed limp is going to be a constant reminder of God's grace in Israel or Jacob's life. So it's interesting, man. You never know. Jacob obviously, went his entire life fighting and being and just kind of deceiving people until finally he wrestled with God himself. And God was like, I need to humble you, basically. I need to humble you because you've been deceitful, you've been lying, and this is going to be a constant reminder for you that you cannot wrestle with me and win. So there's that. So the brokenness that comes with that time brought a new identity. So Jacob was broken. He was unsure of what was going to happen with Esau when he met him. And he will absolutely make sure that you prevail. All right. So let's get into chapter 33. Chapter 33 is where Jacob finally meets his brother Esau. So now Jacob looked up and saw Esau coming toward him with 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the two slave women. He put the slaves and their children first, Leah and their children next, and Rachel and Joseph last. He himself went on ahead and bowed to the ground 7 times until he approached his brother. But Esau ran to meet him, hugged him, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. Then they wept. When Esau looked up and saw the women and children, he asked, "Who are these with you?" He answered, "The children God has graciously given your servant." Then the slaves and their children approached him and bowed down. Leah and her children also approached and bowed down, and then Joseph and Rachel approached and bowed down. So Esau said, "What do you mean by this whole procession I met?" "To find favor with you, my lord," he answered. "I have enough, my brother," Esau replied. "Keep what you have." But Jacob said, "No, please. If I have found favor with you, take this gift from me. For indeed, I have seen your face, and it is like seeing God's face, since you have accepted me. Please take my present that was brought to you, because God has been gracious to me, and I have everything I need." So Jacob urged him until he accepted. Then Esau said, "Let's move on. I'll go ahead of you." Jacob replied, "My lord knows that the children are weak, and I have nursing flocks and herds. If they are driven hard for one day, the whole herd will die. Let my lord go ahead of his servant. I will continue on slowly at a pace suited to the livestock and the children until I come to my lord at Seir." Esau said, "Let me leave some of my people with you." But he replied, "What? Why do that? Please indulge me, my lord." That day Esau started on his way back to Seir, but Jacob went to Succoth. He built a house for himself and shelters for his livestock. That is why that place was called Succoth. After Jacob came from Padan Aram, he arrived safely at Shechem in the land of Canaan and camped in front of the city. He purchased a section of the field where he had pitched his tent from the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of silver. And he set up an altar there and called it God, the God of Israel, or El Elohi Israel. So new name, new worship. And yeah, Jacob took the inheritance, invested it, and then shared capital gains with Esau. So it's always been there. Always been that kind of thing. So yeah, God wins every single time. He's always going to be faithful. He's always going to show up exactly when it is necessary. All right. Do we remember that Jacob had a daughter as well? Well, he did. And it was through Leah. And now in chapter 34, Leah or Dinah is going to be defiled. So Leah's daughter Dinah, whom Leah bore to Jacob, went out to see some of the young women of the area. When Shechem, son of Hamor the Hivite, who was the region's chieftain, saw her, he took her and raped her. He became infatuated with Jacob's daughter Dinah. He loved the young girl and spoke tenderly to her. Get me this girl as a wife, he told his father. Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Dinah, but since his sons were with his livestock in the field, he remained silent until they returned. Meanwhile, Shechem's father Hamor came to speak with Jacob. Jacob's sons returned from the field when they heard about the incident. They were deeply grieved and very angry, for Shechem had committed an outrage against Israel by raping Jacob's daughter, and such a thing should not be done. Hamor said to Jacob's sons, my son Shechem has his heart set on your daughter. Please give her to him as a wife. Intermarry with us. Give your daughters to us, and take our daughters for yourselves. Live with us. The land is before you. Settle here, move about, and acquire property in it. Then Jacob said to Dinah's father and brothers, grant me this favor, and I'll give you whatever you say. Demand of me a high compensation and gift, and I'll give you whatever you ask me. Just give me the girl to be my wife. So this feels like just worldly compromise that is disguised as peace. I don't feel like he's actually being truthful. This Hamor character. I don't think he's being truthful. I don't think he intends to actually make true on his word. But that's just me. All right, but Jacob's sons answered Shechem and his father Hamor deceitfully because he defiled their daughter or their sister Dinah. We cannot do this thing, they said to them. Giving our daughter to an uncircumcised man is a disgrace to us. We will agree with you only on this condition, if all your males are circumcised as we are. Then we will give you our daughters, take your daughters for ourselves, live with you, and become one people. But if you will not listen to us and be circumcised, then we will take our daughter and go. Their words seemed good to Hamor and his son Shechem. The young men did not delay doing this because he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. Now he was the most important in all his father's family. So Hamor and his son Shechem went to the gate of their city and spoke to the men of their city. These men are peaceful towards us, they said. Let them live in our land and move about in it. For indeed, the region is large enough for them. Let's take their daughters as our wives and give our daughters to them. But the man will agree to live with us and be one people only on this condition, if all our men are circumcised as they are. Won't their livestock, their possessions, and all their animals become ours? Only, let's agree with them, and they will live with us. All the men who had come to the city gates listened to Hamor and his son Shechem, and all those men were circumcised. On the third day, when they were still in pain, 2 of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords, went into the unsuspecting city, and killed every male. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with their swords, took Dinah from Shechem's house, and went away. Jacob's sons came to the slaughter and plundered the city because their sister had been defiled. They took their flocks, herds, donkeys, and whatever was in the city and in the field. They captured all their possessions, dependents, and wives, and plundered everything in the houses. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, you have brought trouble on me, making me odious to the inhabitants of the land. The Canaanites and the Perizzites, we are few in number. If they unite against me and attack me, I and my household will be destroyed. But they answered, should he treat our sister like a prostitute? So I don't know. That seems like a dirty trick to me. How dare they? How dare they do something like that? All they did was they slept with the daughter, and they killed all the people. Like, come on, let's weigh the consequences here, guys. This doesn't seem like it is a very good idea. I truly don't think this is a very good idea, and they still did it anyway. It's a shame. An absolute shame. But alas, here we are. All right, let's see what happens after that. We're in 35. We're at last two chapters. Oh. Okay, no, we're good. These last two chapters. It does seem wrong, right? Art Mama 82. All of it seems wrong. It does. And I get it's a big brother thing. It just doesn't the punishment doesn't seem fit for the crime. It doesn't. You're right. It just seems like it was overkill. Literally. And I understand watching out for your little sisters and all of that, but like, is that really necessary? Kill everybody over the innocence of one woman? I don't know. I I guess because I'm not a male, I wasn't there. I don't understand the full concept or anything of it. I don't know. Anyways, chapter 35. This is the return to Bethel. God said to Jacob, "Get up, go to Bethel and settle there. Build an altar there to the God who appeared to you when you fled from your brother Esau." So this is God bringing Jacob full circle now. Back to the place of the first encounter with him. He's bringing him back, and hopefully they'll see hope to basically take a step back and be like, "Come on, Jacob, your sons, you got to keep them in check because they can't just be out there murdering people. What's wrong with them?" So Jacob said to his family and all who were with him, "Get rid of the foreign gods that are among you. Purify yourselves and change your clothes. We must get up and go to Bethel. I will build an altar there to the God who answered me in the days of my distress. He has been with me everywhere I have gone." When they gave Jacob all their foreign gods and their earrings, and Jacob hid them under the oak near Shechem. Why earrings? That's interesting. Mm, Why does the Bible specifically mention earrings? When Jacob and family go back to Bethel. That's interesting. The Bible mentions earrings in Genesis 35:4 when Jacob's family returns to Bethel because they likely symbolized idolatry, pagan worship, or slavery to false gods, not just jewelry. Jacob had them surrender these items. Okay, yeah, we know that. But I just didn't know. So pagan amulets and charms, earrings, especially in ancient cultures, weren't always just decorative. They could be amulets with symbols of deities, such as are used in idolatrous practices as charms for protection. Oh, okay. So they're also symbols of bondage. Some interpretations suggest earrings symbolized slavery or dedication to foreign gods, a concept linked to later biblical texts. So Judges 8:24 and Galatians 4:22. Okay. The earrings were given up alongside foreign gods, suggesting they were part of some idolatrous paraphernalia. So that's why. And Art Mama, you're right. It makes you think about the mercy that was almost shown in Sodom. Almost, but obviously, God was like, "No, whew, there are nobody here who wants me. So burn the whole thing down." So yeah, that is interesting. But yeah, I was interested why they specifically said earrings because I was like, why you could have said like anything. So yeah. Okay. Then they gave Jacob all their foreign gods and their earrings, and Jacob hid them under the oak near Shechem. When they set out, a terror from God came over the cities around them, and they did not pursue Jacob's sons. So Jacob and all who were with him came to Luz, that is Bethel, in the land of Canaan. Jacob built an altar there and named the place El Bethel, which means a God of Bethel, because it was there that God had revealed himself to him when he was fleeing from his brother. Deborah, the one who had nursed and raised Rebekah, died and was buried under the oak south of Bethel. So Jacob named it Elon Bakuth, oaks of weeping. God appeared to Jacob again after he returned for Padan Aram, and he blessed him. God said to him, "Your name is Jacob. You will no longer be named Jacob, but your name will be Israel." So he named him Israel. God also said to him, "I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation indeed an assembly of nations will come from you. A nation, indeed an assembly of nations will come from you, and God will descend from you. I will give to you the land that I gave to Abraham and Isaac, and I will give the land to your future descendants. Then God withdrew from him at the place where he had spoken to him. God set up a marker at the place where he had spoken to him, a stone marker. He poured a drink offering on it and poured oil on it. Jacob named the place where God had spoken with him Bethel. So that's interesting. That's interesting too. That every spiritual renewal begins by returning to where God met us. And I think that's super important for us to kind of remember, because anytime we meet God, we see, he calls us back to that place. I know that I've been called back to places where God was like, I'm taking you out of here. You need to go somewhere else. And then, you need to come back. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. But yeah, we're almost to we're almost to the names, and I think that's what Rocky Top is talking about. Is here we go with all the names. So he said Lot's wife looked back at all the antique stores. It was hard to let go. Yeah, it was. I'm sure it was for her, but it's all right. She will be better in the end. Um. All right, let's continue. Rachel's death. This is chapter 35, verse 16. They set out from Bethel. When they were still some distance from Ephrath, Rachel began to give birth, and her labor was difficult. During her difficult labor, the midwife said to her, Don't be afraid, for you have another son. With her last breath, for she was dying, she named him Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. Jacob set up a marker on her grave. It is the marker of Rachel's grave still today. And that right there is the completion of the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel is not complete with Benjamin. And we'll see what happens from here. What happens with all of the sons and, all the nations of all the different nations that now come from Israel. Now, verse 21. So these are Israel's sons. Israel set out again and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder. While Israel was living in that region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine Bilhah, and Israel heard about it. Reuben! Gosh, Reuben. Jacob had 12 sons. Leah's sons were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. Rachel's sons were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Rachel's slaves, Bilhah. Wait, so Reuben slept with his his kind of mother-in-law, stepmom, stepmom. Is that what that is? That's weird. That's gross. Reuben, why would you do that? Ew. All right, so the sons of Rachel's slave Bilhah were Dan and Naphtali. The sons of Leah's slave Zilpah were Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Padan Aram. Ew! That's gross. Anyways, Isaac's death. Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre in Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had stayed. Isaac lived 180 years. He took his last breath and died and was gathered to his people, old and full of days. His son Esau and Jacob buried him. So his honor was again restored at the very end. So that's nice, I guess. All right, this I think is where, yeah, you're Rocky Top, you may be onto something. He said, well, yeah, well, it was a lot like East Tennessee. I don't doubt it. This is the entire family now. This is Esau's family. Yeah, Esau's family is what we're going to get into now. Because we know Jacob's family, now we're going to see what Esau was up to while Jacob was away. So we'll see. This is, I think, the doxology that is going to be the death of me. bear with me as I get through these names. It's going to be difficult. This is chapter 36. This is where we're ending today. This is our last chapter that we're going to be reading together. And this is Esau's family. These are the family records of Esau, that is Edom. Esau took his wife from the Canaanite women, or wives from the Canaanite women. Ada, daughter of Elon the Hethite. Oholibamah, daughter of Anah, and granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite. Basemath, daughter of Ishmael and sister of Nebaioth. Nebaioth, yeah. Ada bore Eliphaz to Esau. Basemath bore Reuel, and Oholibamah bore Jeush, Jalem, and Korah. These were Esau's sons, who were born to him in the land of Canaan. Esau took his wives, sons, daughters, and all the people of his household, as well as his herds, all his livestock, and all the property he had acquired to Canaan. He went to a land away from his brother Jacob. For their possessions were too many for them to live together, and because of their herds, the land where they stayed could not support them. So Esau, that is Edom, lived in the mountains of Seir. So this separation fulfills the prophecy that was in 25:23. And if you don't remember what 25:23 said, I will read it to you. 25:23 says, "Two nations are in your womb, two peoples will come from you and be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." So this is the culmination of that prophecy from 25:23. These are the family records of Esau, family of the Edomites in the mountains of Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, son of Esau's wife Ada, and Reuel, son of Esau's wife Basemath. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Timnah, a concubine of Esau's son Eliphaz, bore Amalek to Eliphaz. These are the sons of Esau's wife Ada. These are Reuel's sons: Nahath, Zerah, Shema, and Mizah. These are the sons of Esau's wife Basemath. These are the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah, daughter of Anah and granddaughter of Zibeon. Yeah, Zibeon. She bore Jeush, Jalem, and Korah to Edom. These are the chiefs among Esau's sons. So this signals that Edom becomes powerful early. The sons of Eliphaz, Esau's firstborn, Chief Teman, Chief Omar, Chief Zepho, Chief Kenaz, Chief Korah, Chief Gatam, and Chief Amalek. These are the chief descended from Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Ada. These are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son: Chief Nahath, Chief Zerah, Chief Shema, and Chief Mizah. These are the chief descended from Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Esau's wife Basemath. These are the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah: Chief Jeush, Chief Jalem, and Chief Korah. These are the chiefs descended from Esau's wife Oholibamah, daughter of Anah. These are the sons of Esau, that is Edom, and these are their chiefs. Seir's family. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, the inhabitants of the land: Lotan, Shabal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. These are the chiefs among the Horites, the sons of Seir in the land of Edom. The sons of Lotan were Hori and Heman. Timnah was Lotan's sister. These are Shobal's sons: Alvin, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onim. These are Zibeon's sons: Aya and Anah. This was the Anah who found the hot springs in the wilderness. Okay? While he was pasturing the donkeys of his father Zibeon. These are the children of Anah: Dishan and Oholibamah, daughter of Anah. These are Dishan's sons: Hemdah, Eshban, Ithran, and Shiran. These are Ezra's sons: Bilhan, Zavin, and Achan. These are Dishan's sons: Uz and Aran. These are the chiefs among the Horites: Chief Lotan, Chief Shobal, Chief Zibeon, Chief Ana, Chief Dishan, Chief Ezer, and Chief Dishan. These are the chiefs among the Horites, clan by clan in the land of Seir. So this is God's promise to Ishmael and Esau still standing. So that this is, that. And now this is the actual plan unfolding on God's timeline. So rulers of Edom. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites. Bela, son of Beor, reigned in Edom. The name of his city was Dinhaba. Then Bela died. Jobab, son of Zerah from Bozrah, reigned in his place. When Jobab died, Husham from the land of the Temanites reigned in his place. When Husham died, Hadad, son of Bedad, reigned in his place. He defeated Midian in the field of Moab. The name of his city was Avith. When Hadad died, Samlah from Masrekah reigned in his place. When Samlah died, Shaul from Rehoboth on the Euphrates River reigned in his place. When Shaul died, Baal-Hanan, yes, son of Akbor, reigned in his place. When Baal-Hanan, son of Akbor, died, Hadar reigned in his place. His city was Pau, and his wife's name was Mehetibel, daughter of Matred, daughter of Me-Zahab. These are the names of Esau's chiefs according to their families and their localities by their names: Chief Timnah, Chief Alva, Chief Jetheth, Chief Olabama, Chief Olabama, Chief Elah, Chief Pinon, Chief Kenaz, Chief Temnah, or Timan, Chief Timan, Chief Mibzar, Chief Magdiel, and Chief Eram. These are Edom's chiefs according to their settlements in the land they possessed. Edom, or Esau, was father of the Edomites. So the land of Edom, that is where the people stayed. So land of Edom, and actually I think so it's primarily south of the Jordan. Oh, I didn't know this. So the land of Edom was an ancient kingdom located southeast of Israel, which is now primarily south of southern Jordan. You know what they're famous for, guys? They are famous for the city of Petra. Petra, the ancient city, is an Edomite city. So it descended from Esau, Jacob's brother. The Edomites were closely related to Israelites, but often adversaries, flourishing from the 13th to 6th centuries BCE through copper trades before falling to the Babylonians and later being absorbed into Idumea. Isn't that cool? The Edomites come from Petra. Like that's where they're from. And actually, I think in this, is it in this? I don't think there's a map in here. At least not in this. Yeah, this is just a timeline. Isaac. Yeah. Okay. So there is. Let me see if I can find the. Oh, that's actually a really good one. This is a good picture. So open image in new tab. Oh, that is big. Also what she said. And that you guys can see what the kingdom looks like in modern times, what the map says it looks like. You can see it's in Jordan. So this is their map. This is Israel, and this over here would be like Jordan. So let's see what the modern day Edom. What is that? Modern day Edom. Yeah, it's present day Jordan. So let's see. That's a tiny picture. I can't see that. Holy Land, Israel, Jordan, Moab. So modern day Middle East map. That'll help us to see where we are. region. So as we open this image in a new tab, here we go. So yeah, this is where the Kingdom of Edom was, down here, which if we look at a modern map is going to be like here-ish. That's modern day Israel or Jordan, sorry, modern day Jordan. So we can see that. But yeah, isn't that cool? Like I don't know if you guys have ever seen Petra. I actually really want to go. I would love to be able to go. But Petra is this city. Can I see the image? You've seen this. That's such a bad picture. It's so tiny. Find a larger one. Actually, how long is this video? If it's a short, no, that's too long. But I'll play it on mute so you guys can see what it looks like. What Petra looks like. This is Petra. This is Edom. They have all the red clay and all of that. This city is beautiful, but this is where the modern day Edomites would have lived. This comes from that same time period that we're reading about right here in the Bible. It's kind of cool. So this is all built by those people. So we will talk about it. That's okay, Art Mama. You can send it to me whenever you're ready. She says I have a map for this, but I can't send it to you yet. That's nothing wrong with that. I really want to see those ruins though. That would be such a dream of mine. And I'll throw this link in the chat if you guys want to continue to watch the whole thing with audio and everything. I'll also throw it in the chat for the for those watching on replay. So here, comments, I mean. So Petra YouTube video. That you guys can watch it later. If you guys want. So I hope that was cool. I didn't expect that. And that was something I had no idea. Like that was really cool. I had no idea that was a thing. But that is our Bible study for today, guys. That is our Bible study. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. It always is a pleasure to be able to do this with you guys. I'm going to read the rants and then we are going to get on out of here. I'll pray and everything because I do that after every show. But from Artsy Joan for $10, she says, "Thank you, Jackie, and God bless." Thank you, Artsy, for being here, and God bless you for always bringing great insight and asking great questions because I think your questions really help move us along. Because I know that you may feel like you're just like talking and asking all these questions, but honestly, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are thinking those same questions too and just don't have the courage to actually ask them. So continue to be curious and thank you for constantly being here. Eleanor 2000 for $10 says, "Yes, thank you, Jackie. May God richly bless you for your commitment and sharing your time with us, building us up as a body of Christ." Well, thank you. That truly means a lot, and I didn't expect this. I truly I'm just trusting in God to show up and show me what I need to be doing every time that we meet. So thank you for being here. And then $5 for Rocky Top Apologist. He said, "Cue the doxology," and that we did right at the end with all the names and all the things. But that's okay. I'm sure we'll get plenty more of that in the book of Numbers, if I'm not mistaken. But let's get our prayer and let's get you on out of here for your Sunday. I will let you guys know that Bay Theater Dave and I will be going live later this evening for episode 2 or season 2, episode 7 of The Chosen. And that was a really good episode. So make sure to come and watch it. Jesus gets arrested, guys. So we'll see what happens when Jesus gets arrested. And also in an hour or less than an hour, Bay Theater Dave is going live with his show. It's showtime. So make sure to watch that. And depending on what is going on Rumble or anything like that, I may end up raiding you over there early, just because why not, you know? But anyways, here we go with our actually, do I have it? Here it is. Okay. I wrote it down. I like to intentionally make our prayers ahead of time just so that I can read them and not forget. So here we go with our prayer for today. God, thank you for meeting us again tonight or this afternoon, whatever time your people are watching this. Lord, thank you for the consistency of your word and for the way it continues to speak, and whether we feel confident or unsure or energized or tired, it continues to speak to us. Lord, thank you that we don't have to rush through what we read or fully understand for or all of it for it to matter. Lord, as we continue moving forward together, help us to stay grounded and curious. And when something is confusing, give us patience and understanding. When something feels heavy, give us peace. And when something stirs our hearts, help us carry it with us gently instead of trying to force answers. Lord, bless everyone who showed up today to watch live, or everyone who is watching later, and everyone who is still finding their way into this space. Lord, help us to release comparison and pressure and expectations and remind us that simply showing up is enough. Lord, as we close this time together, help your word settle into us in ways we may not have noticed yet. Lord, give us rest tonight and the rest of this week, and give us clarity in the days ahead and a steady desire to keep coming back. Lord, we place this journey in your hands and trust you with where it leads. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen and amen. Lord, thank you for being here. Thank you guys for being here and showing up. Make sure to hit that thumbs up and share this out with a friend. We will be back on Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern with the next installment of Bible study for Overthinkers. Well, we will be reading more of Genesis, and actually, I think we're going to be wrapping up Genesis. We're going to be done with Genesis by the time this week is over. Kind of crazy that we've already gone through an entire book, but we'll be done with Genesis by the end of this week. So we will start next week's or on Thursday's show with that Donny Osmond clip that Rocky Top sent in the chat. You guys can watch it now, obviously, but this is going to be such a fun time. Make sure to hit that thumbs up. I will see you guys later this evening. And I love you. God bless you. And I will see you guys real soon.